TV Spotlight. Pretty Little Liars. Pretty Little Liars is the name of an American teen drama mystery thriller series that aired for 7 seasons from 2010 to 2017. The series had an ensemble cast and focused on 4 best friends whose clique falls apart when their unofficial leader Allison disappears. A year later, the friends, Spencer, Hannah, Aria, and Emily, who have become estranged as a result of what happened that night, which nobody can explain, are reunited when a body is found in Allison's family's backyard, and they start receiving text messages from a sinister figure known only as A, who threatens to expose their deepest secrets and starts forcing them to do things they don't want to do, unless they want those secrets revealed. I first saw Pretty Little Liars when it aired on Channel 9 in Australia. I think it was probably 2010 or possibly 2011, and they showed the first season. And I was kind of skeptical going in, because I'm a skeptical bastard. But I kind of got into it, and I kind of enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first season. Unfortunately, Channel 9 in their infinite wisdom then decided not to bother showing the rest. I think it got poached by one of the satellite channels. And it was like, well, that's that. Thanks for that. And I pretty much forgot about it. I mean, I forgot about it for about, 5 years probably. Like I said, I enjoyed the first season. I didn't massively love it, but I enjoyed it. My main concern when I was watching it was, because there's a bit of a soap opera vibe to it. My main concern was, is it just going to turn into like a standard teen soap? Are they going to resolve the murder mystery and the A mystery and then just turning that into like a standard teen soap? Because I'm not particularly interested. The mystery stuff was the stuff that was interesting to me. Now, I think it was about 5 years later, 2016 or something like that, when I just happened to be kind of wandering around my local library, and in the DVD section was Pretty Little Liars, season 1, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. What the hell happened to that show? And I kind of looked it up. I took out the first season again, because it had been years since I'd seen it, and I kind of looked it up on the net and found, it's still going. It's on like season 5 or season 6 or something now. I'm like, okay, and I kind of I took season 1 out of the library and I watched it, and I found myself interested, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get the others, So I started getting the other seasons on DVD, and much to my happiness, that concern that I'd had, are they just going to resolve the mystery and then just turn into a soap opera? That absolutely was not the case. They lean even more into the mystery thriller aspect as it goes on. It turns into some crazy shit, and I like crazy shit. That's what I'm here for. And I watched it all the way through till it finished in 2017. And honestly, even though I enjoyed it and I had a good time with it, I was not expecting it to be as rewatchable as it's actually turned out to be for me. I kind of thought this would be a watch once, maybe twice at the most, and then it's going to get, I'm going to lose interest in watching it again. But actually, it's becoming... I've seen the whole thing like 3 times now, and I've just started watching season 1 again, which is like the 4th time now, and I'm still enjoying it. Like, I think one of the reasons why I thought maybe that, maybe it's not going to stand up for me is that I do have sometimes with really heavily serialized stuff, it can get a bit boring on reviewings, because once you know what's going to happen, that excitement's gone, and a lot of it just sort of, you start rolling your eyes. I hate to be controversial here, but 24 is one of the prime examples of that. Loved 24 on its first viewing. It doesn't stand up for me. I keep trying to kind of go back to it even with different seasons, and after a couple of episodes I'm just like, So I kind of thought maybe that would be the same with Pretty Little Liars, and somehow it's not. I'm actually really enjoying it. Then again, perhaps some of that is because of how, I mean, you have to admit 24 is, it's kind of cold and bleak and nihilistic. The amount of, you know, you can't exactly say you enjoy spending time with the characters on 24, can you, really? Because it's just so bleak and miserable, and everybody is either a shit or gets killed, you know. It's kind of depressing on review. Now, while some of the soapier stuff kind of makes me roll my eyes a bit with Pretty Little Liars, for the most part, it stands up for me. I'm actually really enjoying watching it. It's still fun. I like the characters. Again, as with something like Buffy, and I'm not putting Pretty Little Liars up there in the same league as Buffy, but it's a similar kind of vibe where you can just kick back and enjoy the characters, even if you know where the episode is going or where the overall story is going. You can just kick back and actually enjoy spending time with these characters, and I think that's probably the key to, you know, most of my favourite TV shows. Press Gang's another example of that. I mean, I've seen that show about 500 million times, and yet I still go back to it because I want to hang out with these characters. And again, I'm not putting Pretty Little Liars up there with Press Gang, but it's still pretty good. You know, I have a good time with it. There were a couple of spin-offs of Pretty Little Liars. There was one that they did while it was on air, which was really peculiar. It was like this sort of, it wasn't really a spin-off, even though they tried to work it, you know, in and then go off into this other thing. And it was really like this supernatural thing, which doesn't make any sense within Pretty Little Liars, which is not a supernatural show. So why they tried to do a supernatural spin-off made really bizarre. I actually didn't realize that when I watched Pretty Little Liars, when I marathoned it for the first time. There was this bizarre storyline that lasted a couple of episodes, had nothing to do with anything. I was like, what the fuck? And it wasn't until I watched it again that I kind of realized, I bet this was for like a spin-off that didn't work, and it was. And they tried to do one after it. I think it lasted very little time, and I've never seen it. I've not really been interested. They're doing another one now called Original Sin. I think it's more of like it's a reboot that isn't a reboot. It's not the same characters, but it's a similar sort of idea. Now I'm hearing good things about that. I'm hearing it's like leaning even more into like horror slasher territory, which I'm quite interested in. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Obviously, I can't see it at the moment. If it comes out on DVD or whatever, I may give it a go. If it keeps getting, you know, good notices and it gets renewed, then. But again, just because it's called Pretty Little Liars is not a guarantee that I'm going to like it when it's a completely different cast of characters. I'll give it a go. I like the idea, you know. I mean, the mystery thriller stuff, that's fine. I will give that a go, and if I like the characters and it grips me in, then fair enough. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But yeah, I really like Pretty Little Liars. I've heard some people complain about it. About how increasingly ridiculous the plots become as it goes on. That doesn't bother me. I don't watch TV for realism. I watch it for fun and entertainment. And the show is hugely entertaining. I do agree that the last season, a bit like the last season of Buffy, is not quite up there with some of the preceding ones. I think season 5 might actually be, and maybe the first half of season 6 might actually be my favorite season, because the shit really hits the fan. It really gets fucking crazy with what this A is up to. Absolutely batshit insane. But I like that. I find that entertaining. Who the hell wants to watch something that's realistic? If I want the boredom of real life, I just have to look out the fucking window. Anyway, look, is there anyone who hasn't heard of it and hasn't seen it, and you like kind of increasingly ludicrous murder mystery whodunit thrillers with a fun cast of attractive performers, give it a go, I would say. I mean, I'd call it a guilty pleasure, except you and I both know I don't have any guilt. uh, it sounds weird because, like I said, I did not really think that it would stand up to reviewing. You know, I thought it was one of those shows that you just kind of watch, you enjoy it at the time, and then you kind of discard it and don't really bother watching it again, like Melrose Place or something from the 90s. But it's actually standing up to me. I'm actually finding it very entertaining, even on a third and fourth watch, which is unexpected. It's turning into one of my favourite shows of the 2010s, kind of alongside Elementary and Person of Interest, albeit completely different to both of those. But yeah, if you like that sort of thing, with a bit of, and you don't mind a bit of soap suds, I'd go for it. I find it very, very entertaining. I'm not sure who my favourite character is. Part of me wants to say Arya just because Lucy Hale is so freaking cute, but I think it might actually be Spencer. I like that she's so driven and ambitious, and I like her sarcasm. I also like that she's not as tough as she tries to make out, and the actress is really good. I mean, I think Troian Bellisario. I don't know if that's pronounced right, and I've never seen her in anything else. But she's actually really good. I mean, the character goes through some seriously fucked up shit later on, and she does a really good job with that. I really like Pretty Little Liars. um, I don't know what else to say. I like it. If you like that sort of thing and you haven't heard of this and seen it, I'd give it a go because it's a laugh. Okay, that's it for now. Bye for now.